Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together, stomp your feet, put a big smile on your face, Maxie Jones.
Thank you. All right. One Saturday afternoon in 2017, I had gone to an event in Olivet, Michigan, at Olivet College. And I was on my way home driving by myself from Olivet. And I didn't know, I was fairly new. I'd never been out there before. And so I was coming all the way across I-94 east, headed back toward Detroit. And I was somewhere between Olivet and like Ann Arbor. And now, this was right after Trump had been elected president. And we were living in a very, very racially charged environment. And so while I was out there driving, and I was, like I said, I hadn't reached Ann Arbor yet, and I was out there driving, I said to myself, damn, Maxie, you out here in Trump country. And, I really acknowledged that. And, I was really kind of on edge about it in a way, So I'm driving, and as I'm driving, I pass by a car pulled over on the side of the road. But I see this car pulled over, but ahead of the car, I see 5 people walking toward the next exit. And the next exit, I couldn't even see. It was that far up the road. Now, I just happened to have been driving a minivan. And so my first thought was, oh man, I got a minivan. I could pick up these 5 people. That thought lasted like 3 seconds. Because then my black male instinct kicked in. It's like, what the hell are you talking about, Maxie? Picking up 5 people off the side of the road. Because they were all big. They looked like adults. And I was like, hell no, it's 5 of them. They can walk. They got company. So I just kept driving. But as I passed them, I looked in my side view mirror. I took one look back, and I was like, oh, shoot, it's black folks. And I pulled over to the side of the road because I felt like, hey, if I'm out here feeling uncomfortable and I'm in the car, they got to be feeling some kind of way walking on the side of the road. So I pulled over, and I sat there for a minute. I sat there actually for quite some time because I'm going to be perfectly honest with y'all. I didn't want to pick up 5 black folks neither. I don't know who they are. They could be 5 gang members. And if their car just broke down, they might get in my car and be like, this one's okay. So I really thought about it. So I sat there for a while, and I said, I'll see. Let me just check and see. Now, I had flown past them, so I was way up the road. So I had to back up. So I put the car in reverse, and I started backing up really slowly. Because I was scared. My hands were sweaty. My heart was racing. And I'm telling y'all, at any moment, I would have popped that sucker into drive and tore off. So I was backing up really, really slowly. And as I got closer and closer, I was looking in my rearview mirror. I could see that it was a mother and her 4 children. Yeah, right? Ain't that nice? And I felt so relieved. I was like, okay, this is a family. And it felt kind of good to me that I even stopped, because the one thing that was absent from that group of people was the father. And I felt like this is where I step in, where somebody else, for whatever reason, cannot be here. And so it felt good. And so as I was backing up and I got closer, I was looking at their faces. And their faces was like, my man, you keep going. We just walk. We ain't getting in no van with nobody. That was the look they had on their faces. I said, shoot, they going through the same thing I'm going through. But they ain't got no van. So let me just give him a chance. So what I did was I stopped. I didn't back up all the way to them. I stopped with a good enough distance, and I jumped out so that they could see who I was. And as soon as I jumped out, the mother said, "Oh, God. Oh, you're black." Like we would not have expected to see a black person for miles. I was like, yeah, I know what you mean. I was like, listen, I see y'all walking to the next exit, so, hop in and I'll take you wherever you're going. So they're like, okay, they got in the van and we started driving. And then the mother says to me, she says, "I just want to thank you for pulling over and picking us up." And I was like, oh, no problem, that's what we do. And she looked at me and said, "Who?" And in my mind, I was like, people. First of all, that's what people do, right? Secondly, I'm a man, and I see a woman and her children. That's what we do. Third, we all black. That's what we better do. And I was like, what are you talking about? She's like, what people? And I just explained to her, listen, this is what you do. You see people on the side of the road, you drive in the minivan, you just pull over. And she says, "Are you a preacher or something?" I said, "A preacher?" I said, miss, I'm a man who's driving a van on the highway, and I saw 5 people walking on the side of the road. And I stopped to pick y'all up. She goes, all right. She said, but you got to be something. You got to be like a deacon or a minister or something. And you see, that's one of my pet peeves. She doesn't know it. That was one of my pet peeves, is people who feel like only certain people do good deeds. So that was getting really under my skin. And just then her oldest son, who was way in the back row, he yelled, "Ma, he picked us up because we black. What else you think?" She's like, okay. So we're driving, and I said, listen, I got AAA. So if you want, we could call AAA, and we can have your car towed wherever you need it towed. She was like, no thanks. You can just take us to the next exit, and my mother's going to meet us there. And in my mind, I was like, does your mother drive a tow truck? Because you're still going to need a tow truck. But I didn't say that. So we're driving along, and I said to her, well, what else do y'all need? What else? What about money? Do y'all have enough money? And she says, are you sure you're not a preacher? Now, by this time, I was getting really irritated with this lady, with this preacher stuff. And so I was at the point where now, I'm telling y'all, I would have driven them anywhere. I would have driven them home to their house. I would have had their car towed wherever they wanted it. But by this point, all I wanted to do was get to the next exit and get these people out of my car. Because I'm thinking, here you are, you're a mother with your 4 children, walking on the side of the road, and a person pulled over to pick you up. I can't even imagine how many cars passed by before I pulled over to pick you up. And all you could think of is that. So I was kind of getting on edge. So we get to the exit, and we pull into the gas station, and the kids all start to get out, and each one of the kids like, thank you, mister. Thank you for picking us up. And I'm telling them, you're welcome. The mother didn't get out the car. She stayed a while in the car. After the kids got out, I said to her, listen, before I drive off, is there anything else y'all need? Whatever it is, money, food, you want me to go in there with you? You know, and she looked at me, and I said to myself, you say it one more. You go ahead, you say it. But she didn't. She said, honestly, all I really want to do is pay you for what you've done for us so far. And I said, no, you don't have to pay me, because if I take money from you, then I will feel like I haven't really done anything. You know, and I mean, really, all I did was pick you up and bring you to the next exit, so that's okay. And she looked at me, I was waiting for it. She looked at me, she shook her head, she said, you won't even take no money. I said, no, thank you. See you later. And she got out of the car. Now, let me tell y'all something. The ride from my house to Olivet College was 100 miles. And the ride back was 100 miles. But y'all know something? That woman there, she was the trip. Thank you.
Maxie Jones, thank you so much.